I'll give you an example. Like the pathways for addiction through the brain are the same as for eating and consumption. If you don't want to be addicted to heroin, to alcohol, to benzos, to all sorts of different drugs, meth, cocaine, etc., fast, fast. I mean, that is the way to pave a highway that has basically speed bumps. And it's interesting to me that God, in a certain sense, as devastating as addiction can be, where we're losing more people now to heroin overdoses than car accidents, and we all know the terrible effects of addiction on a person's life through substance abuse. But the idea that as a 7-year-old, the church in its wisdom has said, you know what? We know what's coming, and we know what you're prone to, and we have this technique based on food and restraint that you're going to practice every day throughout the year. And you know what? All the sorrows of addiction and overdose and watching a loved one die, will be gone. Will be
Mhm.
gone. I mean, it all starts with food, and so what a humble first step to protect us from a tornado and tidal wave of suffering. I think that's, as you mentioned, that is the alignment between body and soul, between daily life routine, and fighting a war that never needs to be started, because we don't even need to declare it. It's so well prevented and safeguarded from.
No doubt. I mean, the Lord doesn't want to just be Lord of our spirits, but also Lord of our bodies and what we do with our bodies. I think where we as Americans oftentimes get off track is we think, oh, as long as we're avoiding evil, we can like live like kings, and as long as it's good. I have a right to do this and this. But then quickly we see our lives getting out of control. We're addicted to screens, we're addicted to sex, we're eventually addicted to drugs, all these things.
Right.
Every epidemic that we see in our society, those unhealthy tendencies, a lot of times it comes from that idea that we're allowed to feast upon this.
Hmm.
But then we enter into that evil, we cross a line, and then we realize, well, what happened? How'd I get there?
There's so many sorrows that we as a modern age suffer through that are completely preventable, and we need to be accountable for that. We need to own that. And it's not all God hating us. It's not all the volcano blowing up. Like 80% of the volcanoes can be prevented. Like we need to own that, and we need to get on that as soon as possible, because when you lose a family member, or you yourself are losing function, you can see how that can break down a person, a family, a community, a nation. And we're seeing the results of all of that. But intermittent fasting, specifically done in the right way, can is a true game changer for you and everyone. And like I said, if imagine in the wisdom of the church, you're starting this at 7, and by the time you're going through the crazy changes of hormones as a teenager, you've already laid out this pathway cerebrally to keep discipline, to understand what delayed gratification is, to understand that you're fasting for 49 days so that you can eat that lamb, and it's going to be the most delicious lamb you've ever had in your life. I mean, that sounds kind of like marriage too, right? I mean, it's
Mhm.
like so many, we could make so many comparisons as to what that means, what delayed gratification means, and how preparing for quality over quantity is a good way to live.
Oh, no
And
doubt. I think fasting really teaches you a lot about what a healthy marriage looks like. Because if you go into if you're a young person, you go into marriage and you're like, I'm going to feast all the time. I'm not
right,
going to go,
right.
you know, it's like, that's not, first of all, that's not reality. And then secondly, yeah, you're going to be disappointed, and you're going to be confused about what this whole thing's about. It's about self-giving. It's not about feasting and taking. You
Mhm.
know, the best marriages are those who you're thinking of the other person, and you're thinking about, most of all, what does God want for this family? That's that's a missional marriage, a missional family, and I think fasting goes right into that. And I think it's because you take that word asceticism, and it means training. Well, if you're being trained, what are you being trained for? You have to have a purpose. You have to have
Yeah.
a mission. And so Christian fasting is always connected to prayer and the mission that God has for us.
Well, and again, it's almost like, do we have to ask God to rain down brimstone so that we're forced to fast and learn that discipline? Or can we live in the 21st century with plumbing and convenience and globalization, and then create some measures that keep us still raw, hungry, and sober. You know what I mean? And in that way, it's like best of all worlds. Let's get rid of tragedy and let's replace it with good old fashioned challenge. And
No
in
doubt.
fact, I always remember that as a child. It was my weird prayer I had with God was that I asked Him to eliminate tragedies from my life, but fill my life with challenges. And I felt I had an innate sense that you could exchange those somehow. It's like if you don't take on the challenges, tragedy will eventually come. But if you pick up those challenges, you can just fill your life with healthy challenges. And it's your day's exhausting. You go to sleep tired, but you're not devastated. And I feel like to some extent, fasting and like I'll say, the Athos diet is really just Orthodox fasting par excellence. But that fasting practice is a wonderful way of creating those challenges and I guess avoiding 80% of all preventable diseases, like just throwing it out there. And then, you can be there for your kids and your grandkids and maybe even your great grandkids and be that person that's lived forever, in spirit. And that's a powerful thought. I mean, it's so beyond vanity. It really is. It's not about the six pack at the beach. By all means, I'm sure that's a proxy for good health. Instead, we need to remind ourselves, guys, this is not about vanity. This is about being there for your kids, having high functional status, being able to lead a full, healthy life, and outlasting, many of the things that take people out every day.
St. Basil the Great says this, because we did not fast, we were chased out of paradise. Let us fast now so that someday we can return there. And I love that quote.
It's beautiful. And I'll say this, it's interesting to me that as much as we in West value our brains as this highest pinnacle of our anatomy, the reality is there's another nervous system that's even bigger than the brain. And that's called the enteric nervous system. It lines our gut and our intestine. It's bigger. There's more neurons. There's more interconnections. And I find it interesting that in a certain sense, I think in Christianity, kind of one of the highest sacraments or mysteries is communion. I mean, it is a food. It is a food. We consume it. It's not a spell. It's not an intellectual, event. There's many things that go into the beauty of a liturgy and communion, certainly, but ultimately it's a passage of food that you digest, that hits your enteric nervous system, that communes with that. And just like we say, in our society, our culture, hey, go with your gut. Does that speak to the idea that our enteric nervous system has more power than the brain? I mean, we think of all the things the brain can do, all of our senses, but here is this second engine that is I think to some extent completely underappreciated, especially in Western society. And how do we communicate with the enteric nervous system? Through food. And what was the first edict or commandment from Christ or from God was not to eat a certain food. I mean, it really is kind of an interesting question of like, what is our true center? And if we can press the right buttons for our spiritual life, it should manifest in other ways. And I think the mechanism, that link between soul and body, in a certain powerful sense, the best return on investment is probably through something like fasting.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, I think someone like Bishop Barron, he said that when the soul is sick, it only takes a little bit amount of time before the mind becomes sick. And then when the mind becomes sick, the body gets sick. And there's like this interface. Well, it can go the other way too. When the body's sick, the mind becomes cloudy and groggy, loss of energy, and that affects our souls. What I love about your book is it's teaching us about how God's designed our bodies so that we can have energy, so that we can have health to serve Him. I mean, think about a dad. Like a dad who has no energy isn't going to be that good of a dad. He can't play with his kids. He can't go hiking with his kids. He can't do his job and then come home and still have what he needs to be a dad.
Yeah, no, I mean, you could play that out in a million different ways. And, I don't know if you've ever seen anyone have a stroke, but it is the number one disease for long-term disability in the United States. I mean, the idea of not being able to speak again, or not be able to walk again, not to be able to play ball with your kid again, your grandkid. I mean, we live long lives. I mean, we spend most of our lives really anymore as almost like senior citizens. I mean, we value youth a lot in the United States and in Western society, but the reality is we're kind of middle-aged and older for a very long time. And that I would say the magic age in my mind, given risk factors when we ask people about, what age they are and risk factors for heart disease and stroke, is like 55 seems to be a number that we quote a lot. Hey, are you 55 yet? And if you've hit that threshold, it's like you better have some lifestyle and skill sets in your toolbox to help you live a long, functional life. And you can see the results of things when you don't have that access to function, and it manifests as a loss of productivity. You can't keep your job. What's a man without a job? You can't play with your kids. What's a dad that can't play with his children? What's a grandparent that can't take their kids out for ice cream or drive?
Oh, yeah. Amen, brother. Well, guys, the joy of fasting, the wisdom of the Athos diet in this interview. Thank you so much, Dr. P, for coming on the show. I knew this was going to be a lot of fun, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. So thanks for coming on. I'll have to have you back on again.
Yeah, I look forward to it. Thank you, Kyle. I'm an ally. I really appreciate it. I love all the work that you're doing. It's really inspiring.
Well, we love promoting Christ, and we love promoting that again, ancient Christian living, that type of lifestyle and program that produces saints. And I think much of our culture and even our churches have we get a little rusty on this. And so it's good to come back and renew this type of thinking that our forefathers and the saints and the apostles taught us. So guys, thanks for checking in. Don't forget to like, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to check out Dr. Pete's book, The Athos Diet. Make a purchase today. It'd be great. All right, God bless. Have a great day. Bye-bye.